What if I told you there's an exact system that creates undeniable fat loss results and progress in the gym that works no matter how advanced you are, creates predictable results, and is just incredibly simple to follow? Well, luckily enough, there is. And once you've installed it into your routine, you can simply follow it and then execute almost completely blindly and still make progress week in, week out. And so in this video, I'm going to break it down incredibly simply, week by week, and what you need to focus on every day. This is something I cover in my free summer blueprint, which I've linked in the description. So if you want to check that out, you can grab that for free, but let's get into the system now so you can make results as fast as possible. So let's start with week 1, where we want to build our initial deficit. We create this exclusively from our calorie intake, so no cardio at all. It is worth mentioning though that we do set a baseline expenditure at 10,000 steps a day simply for other health benefits. And of course this will to some extent support the caloric deficit, but the main driver here is the nutrition setup. And why do we start here? Well, the general rule is to get the most out of the least. We don't want to use all of our tools straight away and chuck the kitchen sink at it. And so whilst cardio will assist in creating a deficit, it's far easier and more adherable to simply remove food. A good place to start is times your body weight by 14 and then minus 500. At this point, food isn't low enough for performance to suffer, and simply, if our body weight loss per week is less than 1% of total body weight, then we remove some carbs, usually 50 grams, which equates to about 200 calories. We basically want to rinse and repeat this every week until we can't remove food without training performance being sacrificed. And once we've got to the point where we don't want to take out any more food, usually at the point where doing so would take away from training performance and impede on daily energy a little too much, we move to the next principle. This will usually be 5 to 6 weeks in, and this is the point at which we start to consider adding cardio. A good starting point is 2 sessions of 25 minutes. Now you might ask, well, what type will work best? And that's going to be a medium that minimizes the fatigue impact from adding cardio. So things that will have a low impact on the joints. For instance, a spin bike or a recumbent bike, not a treadmill or Stairmaster, as these will inevitably elicit more fatigue. And in a similar notion, we typically want cardio as far away as possible from training to minimize that impact of fatigue. So you're best off placing initial cardio sessions on rest days, and then once cardio is at a point where you have to do it on the same day as training, then we either place this after the session for convenience, or if possible, fasted in the morning and at least 3 to 4 hours prior to training. Essentially, the more time between the both, the better. And then once we reach weeks 9 and 10, we enter an unfortunate phase that will eventually have to be deployed. And this adds some nuance to the process that does require some thinking. It's ultimately the time when you have to decide whether to pull food further or add more cardio. At this point, it's likely that doing either will take away from training due to the sustained amount of time we've been in a deficit for. But we do want to make an informed decision as to which one will have the least impact. This is the point at which, unfortunately, pulling food down or doing more cardio will feel tough. But if you really are trying to unlock that new level of leanness, feeling a little battered is part of the process, and no amount of clever structuring will remove that. For some, if not doing so already, you want to bring in different calorie intakes for training day and non-training day, allowing for higher carbs on training days, and then taking away some carbs from non-training days to create a bigger deficit. But this phase is really quite individualized. And then intermittently, we can start to use our secret weapon, which is the refeed. These are small micro phases we use towards the deeper end of the diet, and we deploy them when training performance, energy levels, and general fatigue start to creep up a little bit too much. The idea here is to bring food up to maintenance or just above for 2 to 3 days in the pursuit of restoring glycogen, providing us with the fuel to train hard again and bring some life back into the physique. The common misconception here though is that this will somehow boost metabolism, but this is unlikely to be the case, and the benefits lay elsewhere in deploying these. And again, use these with caution. It's easy to justify these by saying you need it for performance benefits, when in fact you're just hungry and the idea of higher food is appealing. But remember, the more time you spend in this phase, the more time you aren't actually in a fat burning state, and so using too frequently will just extend your diet phase further. So that's the exact roadmap I use myself and with my clients. Week 1 to 5 is to enter a deficit with food only. Weeks 6 to 9 is to introduce cardio once food is in a place where you don't want to reduce it anymore. Week 9 and onwards is a blend of both. And then we just use refeeds when required to restore performance near the end of the diet. Hopefully you found this useful, and if you want more tips like this, then as I mentioned, I have my free 12-week blueprint linked in the description, so you can grab that for free. Thanks for watching, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.